Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanded Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU in chronological order as best I know how. Folks, welcome to the Legacy of the Force series. Just like the New Jedi Order series, I'm going to have to give spoilers in these books. So, spoiler warning again, if you haven't read the books and you need to take a time out, read them first, then come back and watch my reviews, I'm totally fine with that. I'll let you know as a whole, I really did enjoy Legacy of the Force and it's definitely worth your time. However, I do have to give spoilers because every book kind of connects to each other fairly well and the events of one book impact the other. And there will be some major spoilers here, so I do want to give you fair warning. Of course, do I have to keep saying spoilers since these came out years ago? I don't know. I digress. Let's get into book one, written by Aaron Alston. It's called Betrayal. Now, in this book, the Galactic Alliance is trying to consolidate their military. Through the Vong War, they were kind of a mess. Through any other challenges, they realized that, hey, if we bring all of our planets together and have one military, under the Galactic Alliance, we can take on any crisis going forward. We won't be as unprepared as we were for the New Jedi Order, which is still a big impact in the galaxy. That was the war to end all wars, come to think of it. So it makes sense why they'd want to do this. It also makes sense why certain planets want to fight that. This is that anti-government establishment. They don't want big government, and they definitely don't like a big military, led under the Galactic Alliance. So there's a few people who are being vocal about staying independent, and one of them, of course, is Corellians at Corellia. The Corellian sector is totally against this. They want to be independent from the Galactic Alliance. Remember, this alliance was formed to kind of give everyone a voice at the table. But if someone controls, if a Senate or something, just a representative or the counselor controls a military, that's a little too much power. So again, I can see both sides of the argument here. So at the dinner table is a livid discussion between Han and Luke and everyone on who's right and who's wrong. Of course, Han is going to take Corellia's side because he's Corellian. And this kind of goes well with all the books you've seen so far. Han is proud of his Corellian heritage. In the Corellian trilogy, he's happy to go back home. He's happy to see things again. Sad to see things have changed, but he's happy about Corellia. He's always been proud of Corellia. Why in the Jedi Prince series, when he and Leia were going to elope before they got married, he wanted to cook her some good old-fashioned Corellian spicy meals. Yep, I just mentioned the Jedi Prince series again. You're welcome. Now, rumor has it that the Corellians are trying to activate Centerpoint Station once again. Now you're saying, well, wait, that's impossible, right? Because Anakin's DNA is the only thing that controls it. I won't spoil everything in this book, but you're kind of on the right lead if you're picking up what I'm putting down there. So they have maybe they have an idea to get Centerpoint Station active again. Well, that's enough to make everyone in the galaxy nervous. As you know, Centerpoint Station is like the Death Star on steroids, so they definitely want to avoid having that happen, because then Corellia could be their own despot and just basically rule the galaxy with that, even though the Corellians just want it for independence. They want to be firmly independent. Well, Han goes off and joins the Corellians. I think Leia joins him as well. He just thinks that's the right thing to do, that the Galactic Alliance is taking up too much power. Leia, maybe her love for Han and that fight for being, fighting for the underdog, maybe that's what gets her to join the Corellians. I'm not really sure, because it seems like she would be a good bridge between both and she should understand what the Galactic Alliance is going for. But since she is not a leader in the Galactic Alliance, nor has she ever been, she was a New Republic leader, I guess she's thinking, oh, this is turning into, this whole Galactic Alliance is now turning into an empire. So she leaves as well. Now, Luke sends Jacen and Ben, who is his apprentice, and another Jedi, Nilani, on a mission to go to Centerpoint Station and take it over. Because hey, if it is true that they're about to activate that, we need to shut that down right now. This whole time, though, the Galactic Alliance is preparing for a civil war. And so they start locking down Corellians that were in their army. One of them is retired, I believe he's an admiral, Wedge Antilles. They basically kind of put him in lockdown because they don't want him defecting. Now, at this point, Wedge doesn't know what he's going to do. He has a daughter that flies for the Galactic Alliance. But after his treatment by the Galactic Alliance, that makes his decision right there for him. He escapes, defects, and goes to the Corellian army, offering his services for their militia. So if you see, we kind of got a little bit of a civil war going on. The old school people splitting off, going to Corellia, the young children staying with the Galactic Alliance. So I really like what they're doing here, because creating a civil war avoids having to rehash the Empire as the bad guy or another alien invasion. I mean, how many alien invasions can you have, right? So this is a different way to tell the story that makes it interesting, that kind of flips previous stories on its ear and gives us something different. So an A for creativity, and of course there's a lot more going on in this story, as we'll find out. Meanwhile, on Corellia, Thracken Sal-Solo, the dude is still around. Even after falling from grace in New Jedi Order, Corellians just love Thracken Sal-Solo. They pick him back up, and because he's trying to use this as a power grab, obviously. It's Thracken Sal-Solo. This guy is a dirtbag, but he keeps coming back and he keeps popping up, and Jacen has half a mind. Jacen even thinks about just killing him after all the trouble he's caused and after the times he's kind of gone after the Solos and him and betrayed everyone. He's like, this guy needs to be killed. And the whole time I'm thinking, yeah, Jacen, you should just hack him down. I am not thinking what's going to be happening at the end of this story. Meanwhile, Pelion is commanding the Galactic Alliance Navy. And the thing is, I like that, but isn't he 90 now? I mean, he's getting really old. And that's a big problem for me, because at 90, even if he's late 80s, but I think he's in his early 90s at this point, because he was already an elder or older gentleman in the Thrawn trilogy. So now he's like just ancient, decrepit. Is he really the person that you want leading your military? I mean, he's a military genius, don't get me wrong, but even Admiral Akbar retired before he was too old. I don't know. I mean, I'm happy to see him back. You know, I was loving that he was in it, but at the same time I was going, dang, he's old. Would you really want someone that old leading the entire militia? But I don't know. That's just me. Now, Jacen is also given a artifact that he doesn't know what it is. And he goes to the planet Lord, which we've heard of before several times. In fact, there's a short story on Hyperspace called Death in the Slave Pits of Lord that I actually enjoyed. So it's fun to see a familiar planet. That's one thing I have with the expanded universe. Instead of going back to previous planets, they kept making up more and more. Now, Del Rey, to their credit, went back to a lot of these older planets that were already discovered. But it seems like people still like making up their own planet. You're like, how many planets are there? And they never go back to the same one. So it was a nice touch that he has to go back to Lord. And basically, this is all a big setup for Jacen. Jacen and Ben and Nalani go on this mission, kind of researching the artifact. They come across someone called Brisha Sayo, I believe, who later on reveals herself to be Lumiya or whatever. Now, Lumiya is what I'm just going to call her because I don't know how to pronounce her name, is from the Marvel comic book series. Woo! I remember ages ago, years ago, when I told you we'd see her again. Surprise! Yes, the Dark Lady of the Sith from the Marvel comic books has come back. And I remember that my jaw probably hit the floor when I saw that. I was like, wait, what? Because at that time, it was the Marvel comic books, they were taking pieces from it here and there, but you still weren't sure if they were going to go full Marvel, and they went full Marvel. They said, no, this Marvel series, everything connects. Later on, in Guide to Warfare, Jason Fry would connect the Nagai War to it as well. And then, you know, everything now from the Marvel comic books, which was considered for the most part as canon, is now lifted and given the promotion to C canon. And like I said, surprised, because from what I always knew, you never go full Marvel. But overall, I was very pleased. I was shocked by this revelation, and I couldn't wait to tell my friends, or my one friend who was reading with me at the time, was like, look, what's going on? They're connecting all the Marvel stories. I thought that was really neat, because I thought they would never do that. For me, I thought they'll just pick some here and there, but really, you know, we won't see the full Marvel canonization, and at this point, we do, and you kind of know they're going all the way. And so I love Lumiya in this story because she has a long history in the expanded universe. Sure, she had this long break, but now she's back. As any Sith would do, they kind of hide in the shadows and then come out on a well thought out plan. Now, the plan is a little far-fetched, in my opinion, a little bit. Supposedly she and Vergeri, who I know I keep calling a guy because I'm just used to, for the longest, I thought she was a he. But she and Lumiya came up with this plan to kind of turn Jacen to the dark side, kind of make him a Sith, because Vergeri was also a Dark Jedi or Sith as well, which I don't remember. I don't think that's revealed in New Jedi Order. I could be wrong, but it definitely, the plan is developed here. Now, again, it's like, ooh, so you knew that the Vong were going to fall? I don't know, because it didn't seem like they were going to fall and crash. Maybe this was their backup plan, or maybe even with the Vong takeover, turning Jacen to a Sith would have done what exactly? So to me, like I said, I appreciate trying to connect everything, but I thought this was a connection we really didn't need. But it is interesting. Lumiya is basically showing him, hey, look, the galaxy is going to fall apart. And the only way that you can do this, that you can save the galaxy and bring peace, is to control it. Now, to Jacen, this makes sense because he's not really that afraid of the dark side. He is a very learned scholar of the Force, and the dark side is just another aspect of the Force. In fact, this does tie into Vergeri's teachings to him that there is no light or dark, there's just a gray. Now, they abandoned that very quickly. I think Lucasfilm or George Lucas didn't like that idea, so they walked back that line of thinking, even though I liked it because it felt more realistic of the Force. So in Jacen's mind, he's thinking, okay, there really is no light or dark. I've studied every aspect. Why not study the dark side? And I'm more mature, I'm more scholarly, I'm more knowledgeable. I can walk this line without anything bad happening to me. But if I'm going to the dark side, I need to go full dark side. And as you know, you never go full dark side. Okay, I'm stopping there. So what happens is, Ben is not there, by the way. Thank goodness. Jacen turns to Nilani and goes after her and kills her. She already knows what Jacen is thinking, like, no, Jacen, you can't be, are you serious? And takes off, but Jacen kills her. He knows he has to, because she's not going to turn to the dark side, and you know, Lumiya is going to kill her or torture her if he doesn't kill her. So in a way, he's like saying, hey, this is a necessary evil. Don't want to do it, but I have to. I have to preserve, you know, the galaxy. In a way, it's kind of echoing Anakin Skywalker, right? He's trying to do this to bring everyone under one rule and keep everyone safe. Jacen has witnessed the horrors of war. He's been through the embrace of pain with the Vong. And when I read this, I was like, yeah, this makes sense to me. You know, it was a surprise. It was a surprise. Now, later on, he erases Ben's memory of whatever happened on that planet, and he's kind of going down the road to become a Sith now. And again, like I said, it kind of makes sense that he's wanting to study every aspect of the Force. The dark side is the only thing left. It's like the West Wing and Beauty and the Beast. It is forbidden, but why not just go in there? Yeah, I tied this to a Disney movie, so what? But again, Jacen's character does make sense to me. It does make sense that he would kind of turn to the dark side. He had to kill Nilani. Everything in a way is making sense. Even though it's the wrong decision, the whole time you're going, oh no, because you know where they're going for this. Instantly, I knew how this was going to end. And I want to say that everyone else did too. We all knew how it was going to end at the end of that book. We said, okay, I see what they're setting this up to be. Bad news, right? Not a happy ending. I think we all knew this wasn't going to end well. But at the same time, I love how Troy Denning kind of put it in a way that made sense, at least to Jacen. And so I could kind of see his point. You know, he thought, yeah, this is the only way to do this. Lumiya's right. I know it's a trap. She's trying to trap me. But you know what? I'm going to flip this on her, because I can say no to the dark side after a while, and she'll see, you know, that I'm not as gullible as she thinks. Of course, Jacen underestimates the power of the dark side, as we'll see later on in another video.